Today we're going to be talking about Mercari shipping. I've gotten a lot of questions on this, so I'm going to break down everything you need to know about Mercari shipping and clear up any of the confusion you may have. Before we completely dive in, let's talk about how shipments affect payments. So if you've never used Mercari or you're just starting out and you don't really understand it, basically it's not like eBay where you get paid right away once you become a legit seller. Instead, you have to wait for the buyer to rate you. Basically, the buyer has 3 days to rate you once they receive the item. If they don't rate you in these 3 days, then Mercari will automatically rate you and your funds will get released. So that's why learning these shipping methods can be very important, because the sooner you get your item out, the sooner you get paid. So unlike other platforms, there's not one way to ship something on Mercari. You have 3 options. Number 1, a prepaid label like Poshmark. Number 2, ship your own like eBay. Or number 3, Mercari Local, which is kind of like Facebook Marketplace. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But first, let's start off with that first one, a prepaid label. This is definitely the easiest option if you are starting out. So basically for a prepaid label, all you're going to need to do is plug in the weight and dimensions when you're listing the item. Yes, this is of the item packed up. So if I'm selling this hat, I'm not just weighing and measuring this. I'm weighing and measuring whatever I put this in. So this is a structured hat. It's going to go into a box. Probably going to be 8 or 12 ounce rate. So that's what you will want to put in. You don't want to be undercutting on these because they will surcharge you later on if it gets scanned in and it is lighter than what you said it was. So you want to make sure that these are accurate if you're using the prepaid label. So after you've put in your weight and dimensions and listed your item, once it sells, Mercari is going to send you a prepaid label. They're going to send it to your email, but it will also show up in that order. And you can print it off and put it on the package. That's why it's so important that beforehand you have the correct weight and dimensions, because they're generating the label based on that. Next, all you have to do is drop it off at the carrier. This label is already paid for, so whatever carrier is on the label is where you drop the package off at. Make sure to get it scanned in, that way it is in the system and ready to go. Then after you've dropped it off, go back to the Mercari app, into that order, and click confirm shipment. One of the nice things they've actually added about the prepaid labels is you can now do free shipping with them as well. So you can decide if you want to take the cost on or if you want to pass that on to the buyer. Before you had to ship your own to do free shipping, but they've added this recently. And before we get on to the pros and cons, it's important to note that you can only use prepaid labels on items that are under 50 pounds and have no sides greater than 34 inches in length. So getting into the pros of prepaid labels, it's easy. That's what I said at the beginning. It's the easiest thing. You don't have to worry about creating your own label like you do on eBay or like you have to do in the ship your own option we're going to talk about in a little bit. You sell the item, they send you the label, you print it off, you ship it. That's it. It's just like Poshmark, super easy. And I think that's why a lot of people like Poshmark and why a lot of people are gravitating towards Mercari as well. Another pro is the Mercari shipping protection. So basically they will cover you if you just get it shipped in the mail. So all you have to do is get it scanned in. That's why it's important. And then if the package gets lost, Mercari will cover you by you using their label. They're taking on all of that risk. Third, all their rates are flat rates, so they're not going to change based on where an item is going. Whereas if you ship something on eBay or on Pirate Ship, you've noticed that I'm in Ohio. If I'm shipping something to Kentucky, it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than sending something to California. Mercari will show just a flat rate for you, so whether you're paying it or you're passing it on to the buyer, with their rates, at least you know exactly what it's going to cost to ship beforehand. Another pro is they will actually send you a QR code. If you don't have a printer and aren't able to print off your label, you can just take that QR code to whatever the carrier is. They'll scan it, they'll print off the label, and they'll pack your item up for you. But just get a printer. It's super cheap. You can go to Goodwill and get a printer. You can get a label printer online, super cheap. If you're really trying to be a reseller and get into this business, just get a printer. It's a business expense. You can write it off. Now, if you're just trying to make a couple quick bucks off of things from around your house and you don't have a printer, then the QR code I think is perfect for those people. Now, getting into the cons of prepaid labels, number 1, they're just flat out expensive. 2-3 times as much as just generating your own label on Pirate Ship. And sometimes it's tough to price competitively with these higher rates to people that are shipping their own. All right, so getting into the second option of shipping your own. This is what I do for all my Mercari listings. I use Pirate Ship and ship my own, and we're going to go through how this exact process works. So basically, when you're listing the item, instead of putting in the weight and dimensions, you just choose ship your own and you don't have to put anything else in. So when your item sells, you're going to need to generate your own label. You can use whatever app you want. You could use Shippo. I prefer Pirate Ship. They seem to have the best rates of all of those off-platform shipping options. Plus, it is super user-friendly. If you're doing this option, it's just very important to make sure that you know how much things are going to cost to ship. You can do this by using the Pirate Ship shipping calculator. I will link that down below as well. Basically, in this, you can put in the weight and dimensions of an item to different zip codes and test to see how much it's going to cost to ship. It'll pop up with all of your rates to show you exactly what things will cost to ship with different carriers. For me in Ohio, like I said, I'm always going to put in the worst case scenario to know how much it's going to cost to ship. So I'm going to put into a California zip code because that's the most it's going to cost to ship. Because unlike our last prepaid labels that are all flat rates, these rates are always going to change depending on where the item is going. The farther it goes, the more it's going to cost to ship. So if you can build in those further rates and then it sells closer, then you make more profit. All right, so getting back into it, your item sells. Next, what do? You have to generate your own label. So you copy paste the address over into Pirate Ship or wherever you're getting your label. Put in the weight, dimensions, everything, generate the label. Then you're going to copy paste that tracking number from Pirate Ship, click confirm shipment on Mercari, and then put in the carrier and the tracking. Then obviously you need to go drop off your package. I should have mentioned this earlier, but on any of the options you choose, prepaid or ship your own, you have 3 business days to get these items out. So make sure that you're able to do that so you don't get hit with a late shipment. Now getting into the pros of using your own labels, they're just cheaper rates, so you can make higher profit margins. And number 2, it's easier to price competitively with these lower rates. The only con I can find is that there's no seller protection. However, I've sold over 2,500 items on Mercari, and knock on wood, this is fake wood, but we'll knock on it, I haven't had any problems yet. All right, and getting into the last option, Mercari Local. This is like Facebook Marketplace meets Uber. If you have this turned on, then local buyers can use this option. And if they buy your item, just schedule a pickup time on the app and place your item out on your porch or wherever you have that they can pick it up. And the driver will come pick it up at that time. I think they even use like DoorDash or Uber or one of those. Those people are doing it on their route. The driver will pick up your item and take it to the buyer and drop it off. And just like when you're shipping, they have 3 days to rate you. And if they don't, your funds will get released after those 3 days. Hopefully this video was helpful to anyone trying to learn Mercari and their shipping. It definitely can be confusing because they have all these options, but don't be intimidated. It's not that hard. Never let shipping stop you from making money on a platform like this. It's really not as intimidating as you might think. If you haven't signed up for Mercari yet, I honestly would really recommend it. I'm not even just saying that because I have a referral link down in the description. I think it's an up-and-coming seller app, and I've seen great improvements every year, and my sales continue to snowball on there, which means there's more buyers every single day. So if you haven't signed up yet, I'll drop my first link in the description, and you can get $30 for signing up. Thank you all for watching and for the support. There's money to be made everywhere, guys. Let's go get it. Thank you for watching The Millennial Prophet.